Hey guys, I just got a new Livescanner, actually a beta version of the new one that will have the sync capability. So what I've got to do is I'm going to pull off my old one, which is just a standard one, and I'll show you the steps I'm going to do to pull it off. It's actually pretty simple. It's fairly straightforward. The nice thing about the way it's wired in is I don't have to open up anything else because I ran my power wire out through. I'll show you that in a moment when that comes in. Basically what I have to do is I got to undo these two connectors here. I've got to take off this bracket. But what I'm going to do before I get too far along, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the cable ties. You see that my active target cable, I don't know if you can see that easy enough. Yeah, you should be able. But anyway, my active target cable is on the cable clamps, okay, and they're cable clamped directly to the ghost trolling motor power cable. But what I did is I took the power cables, or the power cable for the Livescanner here, and I ran it with smaller zip ties along it, but I did not clamp onto the active target cable. So I'm gonna disconnect all that first. I'll take and cut it apart, and then I'll show you what I'm gonna do. So basically the plan is cut the cable off. I'm gonna take this bracket off because I'm gonna reuse the same setup I have here. Even though I've got brand new ones they sent me with the new unit, I just assume because it's already set up, I'm just gonna use the old stuff. It saves a lot of time. So I'll take that off, then I'll take this bracket off. Okay, once that's disconnected, then I can take this out, then I should be able to slide the whole unit up and get it off the boat. The other thing is I got the foot pedal here. So that's already been disconnected. So that's the power cable I'm going to disconnect. It's pretty simple. So the first thing I'll do is I'll disconnect that. This is where I'm going to plug the new power cord into, where it's here. Okay, this is the old power cord. So now the Livescanner is disconnected power-wise, and then we're going to get to cutting these tie wraps. Cut the back side here. Okay, there's that. So that's the active target cable. Those are the only two that I need to disconnect. Okay, so now I'm gonna undo the power cord here. So, okay. And it looks like we got one more down here. Get that one done. All right, so the foot pedal and the power cable is undone. This is the power cable. It comes only out of the foot pedal here. Okay, let's see if we can get a better shot. Okay, so this is ready to go. All the wires are disconnected. So now the idea is that I'm going to take this arm off. Okay, we're then going to take this off. Then we'll take that. To make it easier, you want to have the bolt line for you. All right, so it looks like, okay, yeah, it's a 4mm. Okay, so in your metric set it's a 4mm Allen wrench. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it off this side because the new unit, this piece here is already attached to the pole. So I'm going to take and do this number. Okay, what I'm doing is I'll loosen them all up first and then we'll pull it. Okay, now we're off. Now what you want to do is, because you've got your transducer still attached, be careful with it. So I'm just going to lay it down next to the trolling motor here. Make sure my cable's not wrapped too bad. Okay, so now that's pretty much out of the way. It's not going to get in my way for anything else. I'm leaving the other cable holders on here, and that's just so I don't lose them, and I'll put new tie wraps on it in a moment. So that's done. So now the next thing is to do this one, and again 4mm on these. Okay, so we'll get these. This one you have to take, pretty much you want to take it all the way off just to make life easier for you when you do this. It does get a little tight on there. Okay, so take that off, we'll set it aside, make sure we don't lose these little 4mm hex heads. Very important, don't lose anything. So now that can sit there for a moment. Okay, now we're going to take this piece off. Now, to do that, A lot of people have stronger hands than I do. I also have, I don't have calloused hands. If you're like that and you got a good hand strength, you might be good with that. But what I use is I use this little guy right here. Okay, and let me move the camera a little closer. I got these on Amazon. I thought they're a little bit smaller, but apparently they're not. So anyway, so the idea is that we're going to take, and this goes this way. So open this up a little bit. There we go. All right. Loosen that up. Then you spin it off the shaft. Okay, that's done there. And this one goes the other way. Okay. I mean, once you get it loose a little bit, it's pretty easy to hand tighten, but me being me, my hands are messed up, so. All right, so now what you've got, I don't know if you can see it, but if you look really close here, you can see this nylon. There's a nylon piece on both sides. That's actually what retains it on the shaft and it keeps its position. So we're gonna get those loosened up and then we'll get this thing out of here. But one thing you want to do before you get too far here is remember the spacing on this. You can see where this piece here, when it came down, I was right above this joint. Okay, and the reason being is that'll setting my vertical height on my transducer, because what I need to do is I got to keep it away from the prop. If you get a transducer and a prop together, they're not a happy combination. So you just basically keep an eye on that. So let me get this thing off and I'll show you what it looks like. It's pretty simple. For the bottom, pull your ring off. Okay, take that off. Take the nylon piece off. Okay, it comes off the back. So that's the nylon piece I was mentioning. And what I'm going to do is I'll clean these things up before they go back in, so I get all the dirt and stuff off and keep them together. Okay, so now we're just ready. Okay, so now this is out of the boat. Got to do one more thing. Got to pull the ring down. All right, so that's done. So now next thing to do is get this out of the boat, and we'll go and grab the new one and install it. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so simple tools to take this off the boat. You have a 4mm Allen wrench to take off the bracket and to take off the shaft, lower shaft. Okay, you take wire cutters to disconnect the power wire from your trolling motor. However you brought it down, use that. And then my giant pair of channel locks. Okay, so it's pretty simple, just a few tools. If you got better hands, you don't need these. I just like them. All right, I'm ready to put the new one in. I've cleaned everything. The other thing I did is that these bolts down here on the bottom of the bracket, these bolts right here, they're a little bit loose. So I retighten those, so that won't be an issue if you're just putting it on. But since I'm reusing everything, I made sure those are tight. So everything's tightened up, cleaned up. So now we're ready to put the new pole in. It's pretty simple. First thing we'll do, we're just gonna do it in reverse order what we just had. So if you recall, our head was placed this position. So we're gonna push it down in the tube. However, before you do that, make sure you put the top knob on, right? So put that on, and then we'll put the nylon piece on. It's easy if you stand the head up and just slide it down the shaft. Okay, so now that's ready to be installed. Don't forget that, or you have to completely undo everything and redo it. So let's slide it in here. Okay, so if we remember where we had it positioned, I had this line right here lined up with this bracket. Okay, so we're gonna get this out of the way here. Okay, we're gonna take this and keep the cable on the right side of that bracket, bottom bracket on, which is a stabilizer. And really, to be honest, you really should have a stabilizer on your units. So Get your 4mm Allen wrench, get it ready to go. Put this thing up and screw it in. So let me get this tightened down and we'll do the next step. All right, that's ready. Next step is we're going to take and push the nylon pieces, the bushings, into the mount itself, and that'll straighten this up. Looks like we are good to go down here on depth. Okay, so push that in. You got to make sure they're in pretty even, otherwise you won't be able to start that knurled nut. And it helps to have the shaft pretty much straight in. So that's going in there pretty good. Okay, so now let's do the top. Notice how I had to pick it up just slightly. Okay, once I did that, now put this knurl on. Go ahead and tighten it up. If you recall, when I took this off, I had this head pretty much vertical with the deck. Okay, that'll give me the proper alignment and spacing when I'm sweeping the transducer back and forth to clear the shaft, give me the best possible coverage. Okay, so that's in there. That's going to be stable once we get this tightened down. Okay, so now we're going to take and use the monster pliers. Okay, that's it there. Doesn't take much. It's just you want to have them really snug. Like I say, most people should be able to do it with their hands. I just can't do it. Okay, and it's that simple. Pretty much the new Livescanner upper piece is installed. Now what we've got to do is put the lower piece on. Okay, so what we want to do is come onto this bracket here, and we know it's already loosened up for the shaft. So one thing I didn't do is clean this up, which would have been nice. Okay, so that's clean and ready to go. So we're going to put this on there, and you notice the arrow is pointed that direction, so our transducer needs to go about that direction. We'll get it calibrated once we get on the water. So that's where we're going to be sitting. Again, same 4mm. When I start doing the tighten process, I will do a cross on it, much like you do on your tires or your car wheels. Okay, so we're gonna tighten this guy up. So while you're at it, you may as well check your lower bolts, make sure they're in place as well. So that's pretty tight. That's tight. That's tight. And this should be, and that's tight. These are already done from the factory for you. You're just doing these on the top. So pretty much right now everything's lined up. Let's see how it is. Yep, actually looks pretty close. So we'll do a little bit of fine tweaking on the water with it. So now the next thing to do is put the tie wraps back on these cable clamps, and we'll go from there. So I've got a couple things. One, I've got my handy dandy zip tie tool, and I've got flat tie wraps for these cable clamps. And these are, I think I've shown you in a couple other videos, but basically they give you, it's very low profile. So we're going to use these. So we've got to have a loop on the cable, and we've already got the loop on it. Okay. And the reason that when I laid that pole down, I didn't do any twisting with it. I would just want to keep the cable pretty much the same way as I had before. So I'm going to put it back on there. So I'm going to pull the other zip tie off, put this one back in. Transducer cable is back in place. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to put the control cable, power cable in place. So this is the foot pedal. This will be the very last thing I hook up. Always do your power last. Okay. So I'm leaving a little loop here. You really don't need to, because this head's fixed and this head's fixed. So I just like to leave a little bit of a strain relief. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put it under. You can see where I'm going, under the active target cable. Okay. So now the only compression I'm doing is on the ghost cable. And that's pretty much what you want to do with any live sonar cables. Do not compress them directly with a zip tie. Just take and use these type of cable clamps. Okay. So let me get this zipped in, and I'll show you what it looks like when I hook up power. All right, I got all the zip ties on the cable. Now you notice when I get to the end here, I made sure as I came down the cable, I didn't have any kinks. So I got one kink right here. So I'm gonna take and uncurl the foot pedal to get that out of the way. I do not like having kinks in cables. There you go. So now we're good on that cable. So now we can go ahead and finally we can plug our power cable in. Now this is the way it comes. It has a fuse holder. This is actually run inside the boat to my power source inside. The power source for this again comes from the boat battery, not the electronics battery, to minimize electrical noise. Okay, I'll have a video soon on noise and dealing with that. So anyway, so what we're going to do, we're just simply going to disconnect this cable right here. Okay. That cable is, by the way, is very tight, and that's actually good because it's waterproof. It needs to be waterproof. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this end, which looks like the male end. So we got the female end that's coming off the foot pedal. Okay. I'm going to throw the other part of the cable over here temporarily. So this power cable, I'm going to put it underneath this cable, and we're going to come under the hole here. I don't know, hopefully you can see that. So now we're going to line the pins. There's a small pin there. Put it together. So now we're all connected. So this we're going to leave a little bit long as well, because you will tend to move your foot pedal around. Okay, that way you got enough cable around there. So this is your limiting factor on it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and tie wrap the power cable to this, so I don't put any strain on it. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that, and then I'll be right back. All right, at this point we're all ready to go. The only thing I have to do is power up the boat, test it, make sure it's working right. You notice that if I rotate it to the right up here, it's actually going to hit my unit, so I'll have to pick this up to do a full test on it. So that'll be done in a moment. But what I want to do is I want to show you a little bit of the differences. If we look at the new foot pedal, the old foot pedal, okay, the old foot pedal had a speed bar here and a knob, okay, and then the two buttons, same. It looks like it's using the same foot pedal. I believe this is a foot pedal that are used in guitars. So the new one has just a Livescanner sticker on it, which the old one didn't. Has an indicator on this label that they put on it for your speed control, so you don't have the light anymore. I mean, I will say the light was handy, but again, the new one doesn't have that. So that's one difference in your foot pedal. Okay, here's the old head, okay, with the bright yellow arrow. The new one appears, this indicator looks like it's lit up, so it lets you know when it's in operation. But pretty much everything is the same. So what you're going to do, there is another connector on the bottom of this. It appears that this is going to be where your sync is going to plug into. Okay, the old head did not have that connector on it. You can see the difference there. So this is new on the new head. So when that sync module comes in, it'll be really neat, because you'll be able to say turn on sync, and as you move your trolling motor, the transducer will move just like you had it mounted on the shaft. But then if you decide you don't want it on your trolling motor, to work with your trolling motor, you just turn the sync off. Let me power everything up, make sure it's going to work. I'm going to have to raise my trolling motor up a little bit to see to make sure I've got clearances and everything's working. Okay, hold on. All right, guys, I've got the trolling motor propped up with a couple of 2x4s here, just to raise it up enough. And so what we got here is I would just want to check the clearance. The transducer is here, the Pro unit is down here. So we got really good clearance. So let me hop up in the boat. I'll get this thing powered up and I'll show you how it works. All right, I've got the unit powered on. You can see the speed knob here. Okay, that's just put it about midway just to double check, just in case I'm a little close to the unit. So we'll use the foot pedal here. So there's that. So now I'm pressing the right foot pedal and it's going to the stop. And now I'm going to press the left foot pedal here. And you can see that's coming right around, okay? So that works pretty good. Got the, here's the new remote. It's kind of quite a bit different than the old one. The old one was fairly simple, A, B, C, D keys. You just had to remember the sequence. The new one is kind of cool. This up here, just to move it back and forth, okay? Just hold it down, we'll move it in sequence. If you want to, say, do a right scan, just push the right button, it scans. It's probably hard to see that. There you go, hopefully you can see that in the background. But you can also see something cool. You see this light lighting up here. This is something I didn't have on the other with the yellow. So here's this left sequence, or left quad scan, okay? So there's that. I haven't figured out all the buttons yet. So you can see the coil wrap we've got here. That way we're not tangling up. So we're doing a lot of testing and to make sure our clearances are right and things like that. So anyway, that we're going to be good with this. All right, hey guys, well, it looks like it tests out pretty good. We're going to take and get this sucker on the water, but this new Livescanner is a pretty nice device. I cannot wait till the sync module comes out. I'll show you the upgrade on that when I receive it, and we'll get it on the water. But that the sync option is really going to be cool, and that you'll be able to use it both as in pole mode, which Livescanner mode, which is what this is, or you can have it syncing in your trolling motor. So it'll follow your trolling motor. So if you're driving around like the elites do, you know, you can do exactly what they're doing, only let the pole do the work for you, okay? But if you then decide that, hey, I'm just going to scan the area, you can put it in quad scan mode and Tru Scan it and just scan back and forth. You'll be good to go. So anyway, appreciate you guys watching the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. If you'd like the video, please like and like it as well. If you got any comments, please comment below. And I like to answer the questions. It's good interaction. I've also gotten some great ideas from you guys about some videos that have really helped to fill a void for people's needs. So again, thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Bye.